Hi and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Sunday, November 21st, 2021, and the topic for the day is called Sky for All. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening November 13th through the 15th, 2021, and this is show number 131. And before we get into those sky observations, I'd like to say good day, osio, hao, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, tien dobre, konnichiwa, dobrohonya, 안녕하세요, buontarji, Turviden, aloha winala, kalimera, hudenta, and good day. Now, once again, we've got the Words, Wisdom, and Spirit of the Day page combined with the greetings from around the world. And before I jump in on the title here of this slide, I just want to start off with a little quote. It's something that I wrote in a comment on somebody else's YouTube site earlier in the week, and I feel it's very fitting to kick this all off with this quote right now. And it goes like this. The way is wide open before us to rise, shine, and uplift the world like never before. Let's go. I mean, let's go already, really. So this is our grand opportunity right now through all of the seeming chaos and adversity to really tap into our own power and all of our spiritual gifts within us and to really shine out and show what we can really do. So the more adversity I say, okay, the more resolve I have to shine that light out there in the world. And I want to start off this slide. It says, remember your life purpose, starting right here, right now. A lot of us, I think, especially if, all of this kind of spiritual stuff and awakening is new to you, and you find yourself looking around in the world knowing you don't want to do certain things and put certain things into your body due to coercion or peer pressure or just, deception. And I know you know what I mean, wink, wink. And say you have, and I hate this phrase, lose a job. No, you've gained freedom. So when somebody says, I lost my job, no, I say you gained your freedom. Happened to me many years ago, so I know exactly how it feels like. And when that happens, and especially if you've identified too much, or not too much, but if you've identified strongly with that role, say in whatever job it was, you may find yourself at quite a loss. Feel like you're like stepping on shifting sands, on top of shifting sands with what's going on. And it's hard to kind of gain ground and find the center. Well, I just want to say that if you are now faced to look within and look at some circumstances and things you probably didn't look at when you were on the 9 to 5, so to speak, rat race, now's the time to really discover and know yourself again. And so if you don't know what your life purpose is, I'm here to tell you the real quick and easy version is you are your life purpose, just your being here. Being right here, right now. Your beingness, just your presence, is your being present to this earth at this time to simply be the light. What does be the light mean? You can just sit there like a rock. That light is within you inherently and will shine whether you turn the on switch or off switch on or off. So that's the good news. You don't have to do anything. Even your cells know how to shine the light without you consciously intervening. So there's really nothing to do. Now, of course, that's not a satisfactory answer, even not to myself. We want to know more. We want to have a little more of a purpose than that. And so I'm here to kind of hopefully fill in a little gap for anybody who's at a true loss. When I was going through this, people were telling me, well, just smile and do a little something that makes you happy each day, and your purpose will start to come to light. Well, I have been doing that for many, many years. I can even say right now I'm still a little bit at a loss. So what could I do was my question. So what can I do? I know I can't instantly conjure up or otherwise instantly manifest what my purpose is, or at least have it revealed to me. For some reason, it's, I believe, deliberately being veiled or kept from me for a certain timing. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm not a victim here. I can take some action, and this is what I'm going to do. I am going to consciously spread the light into the world, okay? It is beautiful that I can also subconsciously or unconsciously do it, but now I want to consciously do it, and guess what? I have the time and the opportunity to do it, and I don't even really need money or much at all to do it either. And what does that mean? Well, as you see here on the right-hand side, I have a collection of images, and I had to draw some because I have these objects somewhere, but I've moved and I can't find them. I'll get to what they are. But I have a little guide here on the left of where we're going. So what I decided to do is start with step 1, okay? At that time, I quote-unquote gained my freedom, and with that came 0 funds. So I thought, how can I spread light out into the world and not really, have a big price tag to do it? And so I had, at that time, while I was in between, in shifting sands, trying to find the next thing, just getting by, I did a series of bizarre kind of, well, now that I call it bizarre fondly, I mean, it was really out of category with what I would normally do. But I did these little events and odd jobs, and through that, I got a ton of recycled paper, let me just say, like heavier cardstock paper. And then around that time, it was February, so there were these little candies, the little Valentine's candy boxes, really small, like, and they were on sale for like a quarter, after the fact, per box. So I got a few of these, and I used the box as a template to trace out the heart you see at number 1 here, where it says thank you. And I thought, you know what? I can make a bunch of these hearts, so for next to nothing in cost, just get a little bottle of craft paint and paint them all, and then just with a Sharpie or some kind of marker, write messages on them. And so that's what I did. I had thank you or just love or, certain little messages. And what I did was, again, this was totally uncharacteristic of me, but I thought, I am going to do this. I am going to go out and spread light in the world, and I'm going to do it wherever I am, at any day, at any time, whenever I feel like it, and whenever I'm guided to, and sometimes even when I'm not. And the more you get into the habit of doing this, it becomes so second nature, and it becomes a lot of fun. And then you find yourself working from number 1 toward number 10 and beyond. And I'm going to explain this. And again, if this is like something that's not at all up your alley and you don't really care about anything that I'm talking about right now, feel free to skip ahead to the sky observations. I do not mind. Whoever finds this message, you know it's going to be for you. And if not, I totally don't care, but enjoy the sky observations coming up. There's some really cool ones in there, once again, of what presented to the camera this week. So anyway, all that to say, I started off with my little messages. What did I do with them, these hearts? I started handing them out wherever I was. So I had a whole stack. You're going to hear me. I got to check out my notes. Hang on, you're going to hear my paper. So I had a huge stack of them. And I started leaving them in like coffee shops on the little community service magnet board. I, would take them, and I had some career day stuff, and I left them with one time a bunch of kids and talked about some inspirational messages. I also went to a high school theater performance, and I gave them to the instructor to hand out to all of the kids that had done, acted in the theater performance, and just thank them for bringing their gifts, to the community, and I really loved it. And so, and then I found out after the fact that, like, over the course of the next year, one of those students had also created paper hearts and spread them out in the community, kind of unbeknownst to me, so it was just so beautiful. Anyway, I'd also leave them with cashiers and grocery stores, and I started just handing them out, just saying, thank you. This is just a thank you for being here and for what you're doing. And I might also just say for luck or whatever. And I want to tell you, it was just a beautiful icebreaker and a way just to also communicate with people who might not normally otherwise kind of look up from the rut or the whatever the routine of what they were doing. And some really beautiful heartfelt exchanges happened just through this very simple technique at number 1. Then number 2, I experimented. I also got some beautiful, because at the time I was living right on the beach. So I got some beautiful beach stones and pebbles, and I also brought them to like a career day at a little school and handed out each of these and talked about the idea of stepping stones in our lives and all this stuff. And anyway, same thing happened the following year. I found out that one of the girls in the class took that to heart and started doing the same thing and gave them as little messages and things to her classmates at the end of the year. So you just don't know what one kindness and one heartfelt, loving intent, how that starts to spread through the community, and it's just beautiful. Now, on number 3, that was a scented votive candle, and I ended up giving some of those sometimes to friends or acquaintances, people I would just run into when I was guided to give the candle. And sure enough, more often than not, it turned out that they had just lost a loved one or something, and it was very timely. Then we move into number 4. Oh, these were just amazing. So, unfortunately, I don't have the image of the real thing. It was a shiny metallic gold coin with a cutout of a little hand in there, and it just said a token of appreciation or thank you, on one side or the other. It had a different message. And I handed these out also, and I would just say, hey, for luck, and I would hand it to a clerk or, again, a cashier, maybe at a grocery store. And, everybody you would think that I gave them a solid gold coin. People were just stunned and, so happy that somebody actually cared. And I think more than the token itself of any of these, it was just feeling the love backed behind it and the intention of wishing people well. And that was so strongly behind it whenever I do this. And so anyway, then like weeks later, I'd go back to a store or something, and somebody would come running up to me and go, "I still have it," and show me that they put it in their wallet, or I tell them put it in their car, or whatever, makes them happy. Then I think the most rewarding experience, even out of all of these things I'm going to go through, was when I was still giving these coins out. And I got these in bulk, so they were pretty inexpensive. I think they were maybe 10 cents, per plastic coin. They're about 2 inches in diameter. And one of the most profound experiences I had was giving these out. I was first just giving it out to a woman who was making a smoothie for me in a farmer's market, and it happened to be near a hospital. And there was a line of about 3 other people behind me. And so they saw me give this coin to the person making the smoothie. And, and of course, I wish the person tremendous best wishes and good luck. And this is just a little something to hang on to and know that, brings great wishes and good energies. So I just want to let you know that those 3 people started getting really curious, and they were looking kind of jealous, like they didn't get one. And so the spirit moved me to hand them each one. So the first person in line I gave it to, she almost cried, and she broke down. Well, she did break down actually a little bit. And she just said, "Can I have a hug?" And I said, "Sure." I gave her a huge hug, and she goes, "You don't even know. I just found out I got cancer. And, I really need this right now." And so I said, "Well, here, then I'm going to give you another hug." And it was just a beautiful, beautiful moment and very touching. And I said, "Look, I really feel it. Good things are coming your way." And so then the next person I gave the coin to, again, just seemed stunned and didn't even know what to say. And then the third person was this man, and I would say he was probably in his 50s. And he looked at me and he said immediately, "I don't deserve this." And I almost cried because I thought, wow, how do any of us not feel worthy? We've got to come back to, we are worthy. Why are we feeling not good enough or not enough of anything? And so I looked at him and I said, "Oh, yes, you are. And this is for you. And I wish it was real gold to give all of you," right? And so there are more things far more important than real gold. And that was an experience that forever, will impact my life for sure. And it all came from giving somebody a supposedly worthless, otherwise worthless, right, plastic token, but it's just what comes behind it that can, as I put to the right here, light up lives and even move entire worlds. So that's just an example. Another good one was number 5, a wood coin with a wishing star with an ink rubber stamped star on it. And so I found a rubber stamp, and it was actually more beautiful than that. That's just a crude depiction on number 5. But it had a nice little, star with sparkles and a trail and whatever. And I ended up leaving a whole stack of them at a mechanic. They did a great job on the car, or were fixing the tires or whatever. And so there was a staff of maybe 7, and I asked the person, "Okay, how many are working here?" And then I give them the coins. And again, it's just the fact that somebody is going a little bit out of their way and doing something that is showing kindness and love. And it makes a huge impact on somebody's day, even more than what you could give them in a monetary tip or what have you. Then we come to number 6, the small faceted gems. And then I started putting them in organza little bags. And these, I think the overall bag and the gems, when you buy them each in bulk, can be like 30 cents. And so I started just giving these out freely as well, and just handing them and say, "Hey, this is just a thank you, token of appreciation," or, "Hey, this is for luck, just for fun," however it feels right to you, to present it. And it's an enormous and beautiful icebreaker. So this is even amidst the supposed virus in quotes, where people are like, "Ooh, stay away," even the most hardened ones. You melt them immediately. You break the ice. There is no ice. It disintegrates. There's no barrier, no fear, because right away people love to receive and love to receive a beautiful gift. And so, I hand this over and say, "This is for you," and all the little defenses drop, all the walls come down, and there is just a beautiful moment to be had. And again, that is the God and the light presence shining through. So it's a very easy way to do it. Also, number 7, then I explored these jumbo gems and forgot the bag, just keep costs down. And they look like these, but just one big one. And the fun thing about that was I would have several in a bag, and I would say, "Go ahead and pick one," and let the person draw it like a, like a present out of a bag. And or I'd say, what's your favorite color? And it's a great, conversation starter, and just a nice little technique and way to start interacting with somebody who might otherwise, have an icy wall up, or not want to talk, or whatever. And so anyway, that was another beautiful thing that started happening when I was handing these out. And then I started, thinking, oh, I hate to give plastic, just because of the toxic nature of these things, of how they're produced and whatnot. So, like, I really wish I could afford to give some natural gems. And so slowly things were being shown to me, or a way, was made open before me to do it. And I played with the tumbled crystals at first, but to me, there's much more power and raw energy coming out of natural raw crystals. And so I, gave these out for a time, but I'm like, no, no, I'd really rather stick with these. So in this case, if you look up this little bag here, I would put one crystal in the bag, and then I thought, oh, that looks so lonely there. And so then I found in bulk a bunch of these heads of silk, well, artificial, whatever, not real silk, sunflowers, and would put one in, to accompany the rock. And then I started handing these out. And then I would say either, what's your favorite color, and give them one of these, or just hand one randomly and just say, look up the healing properties of this crystal and its meanings. So that gave people something to engage in. And again, saying it comes with tremendous, great blessings for you, or really beautiful energies, or however you want to present it, or say this is just for luck, or this is a little companion, rock companion, stone companion to hang around, or if it's not really, your thing, or you're not really feeling it, this is yours to give to somebody who could really need it, a little lift in life or whatever. Then we come to just the silk sunflowers themselves can be put in a little bag, or even just putting the bag. I've run into situations where I didn't have the stones or anything, but I did have the bags, and I would just started dropping those sparkle bag. I mean, they're really fun. This one feels like has that Merlin feel to it, and this is like bronze and turquoise and whatever. So anyway, sometimes I would just drop the bag into like a tip jar if you're getting food or whatnot, and then that way they can, somebody will appreciate it. And one girl grabbed it immediately, and I said, "Sorry, I don't have anything to go in it right now." And she goes, "Oh no!" And she had I'm not promoting this at all, but she grabbed a little, let's just say a little toiletry product she had in her bag, and threw it in there right away, and was so happy. She was just so happy to have the bag. And so just a very little goes such a long way. Even if there's no money to be had to order any of these little things in bulk and put them together, you can also just put a handwritten word or phrase on paper. And again, the key of this is just the loving and kind intent behind it, and well-wishing to whoever you're going to give it to. You can, put a smiley face, or print out, if you have a printer and a little bit of a graphic skill, you can take a gemstone and make that the background, put little text overlay saying you're a real gem, or whatever message you want to put on there. Again, keeping in mind just to hand out people throughout your day wherever you go. Anyway, that's how I've been experimenting with some things over the past few years. And the more you do it, the more fun you have with it, and the more beautiful exchanges with people you have. I'll just say one more thing. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this time, but it's so important. One time I gave out one of these bags to somebody in a just in a real retail store. I think I was buying some dishes or some mugs or something. And I gave it, and I just said, "Oh, this is just, thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for being here, and you know, for ringing me up or whatever. And or this is just for luck, whatever. Again, whatever strikes your fancy when you're handing these out. Also, you can put the intention for the divine spirit just to move through you to say the right thing as you hand them out, and that gets really fun too. So I handed this out, and there were two people side by side at the cashier, so I gave them each one. I said, "Oh, well, here's one for you too." And they looked at me, and they stopped what they were doing, and their jaw almost hit the floor, like they couldn't believe it, that somebody was giving them something, and the feeling behind it, the good feeling behind it. And so the one woman said to me, looked me in the eyes and said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, I'm from Miami." She's like, "No, where are you from?" I said, "Oh, well, Miami." She's like, "No, no, where are you from?" She was so puzzled, she just kept repeating that. So finally I just said, "I'm from a place of complete love." And then that was it. So that was one of the highest compliments I got as well, in addition to the one here of the exchange that happened with the gold coin, plastic coins. Anyhow, okay, all that to say is, wherever you are, just shine out oceans of love from the heart space. That really is it. All right, now let's get into the sky observation portion of the show. And because I drew this out quite a bit longer than I had hoped, I'm going to be a little quick on the sky observation side. All right, that means that whether you're new or returning to this channel, I give you a heartfelt thanks and welcome. And thanks for being here. So if you're new, I'm going to give the super fast explanation of what I'm doing with the sky observations. And if you're returning to this channel, you may want to just skip ahead this bit. So all I'm doing is going around on my daily or nightly business and looking up at 360 degrees at the skies, typically over Miami. Sometimes it's, wherever I'm traveling, I'll do this too. And I'm noticing a lot of anomalies in the skies, really high strangeness, especially since 2018, and it's only been increasing from there. The frequency of these things. So I'm looking at things like cloaking craft, and when I talk about strange cloud activity here on the slides, I'm talking about cloaking craft. I'm going to use plasma as my go-to for cloaking material, and there are very sound reasons why I'm saying cloaking craft, and I'll invite you to look at my previous shows to learn more about that. And so I'm talking about something that can be 3D, where you could walk up and knock on it, touch it. It's very tactile, that type of thing. It could also be something interdimensional, or something that is 3D and phases in and out of state, or something very ephemeral, like ghost-like, or something even supernatural, or something that we just can't quite define it yet with our limited understanding here on Earth. And so also looking at different kind of light qualities, different light color signatures, things that just seem really odd these days. And I'll get to that as we go through the show. So I think that's all I'm going to say for now. Other than this is the original photo, and what I do is I take it and I go through what I call enhanced photo. Here's an example. Well, where I'm just going to play around with the color, saturation, brightness, contrast, things of that nature, just editing attributes of the photo. And all I'm doing is upping some of the levels of those things, or lowering them a little bit, and then a whole new world of discovery usually pops out. So in this case, I even took sketch tools and, drew over a couple things. I'm going to toggle back and forward to the original. So there's the original. We're looking at these triangular shapes, clearly forming as sky imprints in the sky. I'll also drop in a letter once in a while, just to help me keep focused on what I want to talk about, because sometimes there's so much going on in any given photo, I simply can't get to them all. So sometimes I just cue that up as a little reminder to myself to at least talk about that. And you're going to see so many more things going on that I can't even get to. So if I've missed something big, like I like to say, it's not done on purpose. There's just so much going on, and sometimes I get focused on a detail and there's like a bigger picture thing happening, and you're like, why didn't she talk about that? Not intentional. Also, I narrate all of this on a laptop screen, a bigger format. And so if you have the luxury of having a laptop screen and a handheld device, a smaller device like a phone, a camera phone, if you can have both running at the same time in your field of view, look up to the big screen and then toggle back and forth with your eyes, look down to the small screen and back up, and you're going to see totally different things depending if you're looking on the larger format or the smaller format. So keep that in mind as I go through some of this. So anyway, here we go. I'm just looking at a triangular form. Like, we got a straight line here, and like straight weird lines happening in here. So that's just what I found. And then sometimes I take all color out of it just to help our eye and brain, see things in a different way. All right, this was just looking strange, looking to the south in the afternoon. This overall assembly was weird, didn't look like a typical cloud, but also weird things were kind of springing off of it. So I thought, let's look at this with enhancement. And here we have some bright points. It even looks like a hole here, like a black hole. We have a little, smudge out of something happening around here. It looks like something's coming and going. Weird little things popping up in and around this quote-unquote cloud. It just felt really strange. So a lot of times I'll see stuff with the naked eye clearly, and I'm like, okay, we're going to take a picture of this. And sometimes it's just a feeling, and I'll take a picture, and then, I might see it later when I get inside or start doing enhancements on it. Like, I'll see the reason, oh, that's why I thought to take the picture, and something pops up, through the enhancement process. Anyway, we're going to zoom in one more time, and here's that, weird little smudge thing happening. So to me, that's a cloaking craft, or when I say craft, it can be an object, it can be an instrument, it can be, some type of sensor. It doesn't have to be an actual piloted type craft. It can also be, some of these things can be machine parts poking up out of a bigger craft as well. I have an excellent example of that on the show called Awe-Filled Sunset. I invite you to go take a look at that around halfway through the show, where I trace over something that even looks like a World War II battlecraft. Okay, then we've got weird little highlight points, bright white points, burn points, and again, it looks like a hole coming down here. Something strange is happening off the back over here at C.2, which is not in any way, shape, or form a natural cloud. So, and also this is pretty dead even coming across here. the whole thing screams strange. And to me, it's giving enough signs of a cloaking craft that I cover in detail on other shows. All right, we're looking east-northeast in the afternoon, and this was just starting to look strange that we have things on angle in the sky. And then we get these weird wave patterns forming. I'm in South Florida where it's subtropical to tropical weather, and I've been here for many decades. I've lived around the world. I've studied, the sky my whole life, one way or the other. Um, and, we used to just have these big puffy white cumulus clouds that would predictably move across the sky in a predictable way. Now we have things coming on a sharp angle and parallel to each other. That would never happen in a natural, sky overhead. So anyway, that's why I'm kind of picking some of these things out. Then on top of it, we see like this choppy, fuzzy cloud effect. I know I've repeated myself every single time, so bear with me if you're returning to the show. But I call that staccato cloud effect, and I just name it that, a musical term, because it means something very, dissonant and disruptive. And in this case, that's what's happening in the atmosphere. And so we look to the right, and I notice these, not only these intense reds and pinks start showing up where they really shouldn't actually, because diametrically opposed to this to the west, yes, there was a sunset, but nothing that would have generated this. And that in combination, that color signature with this happening over here, this really strangeness, tells me that there's something here local, like a cloaking craft. And I say that because the staccato cloud effect, I talk about that being created by my theory anyway, is one or more craft up in the atmosphere that are generating with electromagnetic wave energy or other types of wave energy, this disruption. So as a cloaking technique for one or more craft above it. Or it could be just a side effect of whatever is powering the craft and it happens to make these waves. But the more I've been looking at this, the more I'm going to go with, it's doing this intentionally so that things can cloak. And so when we look here too, we're getting these bright white spots, and look at, there's dimension, there's shadow, and to me that means those are either machine parts sticking out of something or a craft is starting to emerge. In this case, I think it is something kind of mounted to the side of a bigger craft. If you see all these like weird little wave-like things, there's something strange like zooming up off to 8.1. Again, this is in no way, shape, or form just regular cloud activity. Then we have this thing kind of diving down with things offshooting. So I'm going to say, go out on a limb, these are all cloaking craft. Okay, now this one gets interesting when we look up to the upper right. We see again this color signatures, these bright, red pinks, and we're picking them up on the camera because it has a vaster range of photo and light sensitivity. So yes, I can see it. The more I've been doing this, I see it much more keenly now. But it always is a joy to see this when it goes into enhanced modes to see what pops up. Now this is all blurry and kind of weird. We've got some darker bodies, happening beyond. Smudge, kind of blur outs a little bit here. And then we get weird straight lines. Look at this straight line at 8.1. So all of this actually extends all the way up. So to me, this looks like part of a triangular form, an imprint in the sky. And if you want to know what I mean about imprints, again, I invite you to look at earlier shows. Anyway, the textures are all off, all over the place, and just nothing about this scene looks normal. So see what you find in there. We're going to zoom in a little bit more, and what I'm seeing here now is this darker stuff, if you follow my cursor, comes down to like a point where it's really dark, and then moving back up we see these dark bits. So I think this, coming down to 8.2 at a point is almost like, one big object with some cloaking things happening in front of it, or maybe other craft. I mean, look at this straight line of something happening in here. And this color range, this darker black, could be something happening, passing in front of another object even. Just see what you think. There's so much going on in here. And again, I present my views coming from a strong technical, even construction design and cultural background, but, see what you see from your walk of life and your perspective. Now here, this is coming across level. This is a blur out, kind of pointed ellipse at B. That weird pattern is happening in here too. These weird parallel lines, strange wave patternings happening in here. So there was enough here to say yes, let's do some enhancement on this thing. Now look at 8.1. What the heck is happening up in that corner? We get a cross-like shape, and no, it's impossible. I'll just say it. For any natural cloud system to create a plus or an X or a cross, something coming directly and perpendicular to another. And then something strange is happening up here as well. So I think that could also be some type of cloaking craft coming in and out. on the scene. And then look at B.1, the character of that coloration is so different from everything else happening around it. Then we get a burst of energy where I have the question marks like blasting in this white. And again, this is in the evening towards sunset, looking east, southeast. We are not looking west. There should be none of this red color over here. And then what is this? You know, this looks like to me the end of a I don't know if it's the front end or the back end of a cloaking craft. And then what is this? This looks like it's zoomed up out of here, this triangular shape, and that's like a vapor trail coming behind it. So do we have like battlecraft warfare going on here? Is something shooting at another thing? Or this just happens to be a burst of something coming or leaving our atmosphere? I don't know. But so many of these parts and pieces just don't even work together to make any logic whatsoever in our sky, let alone all these other red bits. So just let me know what you think is going on in the comment section below, whether it's a fantastical point of view, like a cloud play, like, oh, I think that looks like this or this, or, you know, if it's based in any more sound, logic, or reason. And if you don't want to, that's totally fine as well. Anyway, this is all fascinating. So now we're going to look at the blurred out feature. I'll go back. Here we go at B.1. Now we're going to call it B.2 because we're zooming in even more and checking it out. So look at this. It's all very weird, very smudged out looking. We still get a little burst of red. Oh, and by the way, whenever I talk about a red pink color signature, usually it's in the form of a big circle in the sky, or it can be very local feeling. Look at my description box below of what some ideas I have of what could be causing that. And you may have some of your own to add to that. All right, anyway, this does not look natural, you know, for cloud formation. Again, we're talking hot, humid, little to no wind going on. So there's no way a cloud would form like that, and really low in the sky to boot. All right, now we're going to look at this scene looking southwest. On the left is the original, on the right is the enhanced version. And I just started to see this really weird, milky, ethereal light popping up around, you know, darker imprint in the sky. And usually when I sense that light, it's just otherworldly. And it's usually this like white, kind of like an LED, or white blue. It's just hard to put your finger on it. Anyway, that started to develop, and I'm like, aha, we've got presence of something up there. So we look to the right, and this is what I pull out. So I just start to see this weird texture happening over here. Hang on 1 second. Oh, sorry, pardon me, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So we got really tight and very, you know, just looks like really planned texture happening over here. I don't know. There's another word, I'm missing it. But anyway, really tight, intricate patterning going on here. So strange stuff kind of traipsing in. You know, this is curving this way and then curving down this way. What the heck is going on here? I don't have an answer. I have a lot of questions. But we also get like a burst of light over here as well. See what you think is going on. All right, then this is a panorama looking northwest to southwest. And again, I kind of like the top is the enhanced version, the bottom is the original. On the top, I really, you know, upped the brightness a lot, just to kind of in an exaggerated way, just to get at A and B. Actually, sorry, I flip-flop these. These up at the top should be A1, B1, and the bottom should be A and B. Anyway, to the left we have A. We'll just call it A for now. Look at this. It looks like the tip. There's a specific shape. It almost looks like a seed pod or something. But look at this. This looks like a definite shape, like a walnut or something. And then this too has a shape of its own. So I've got to say, these are either two independent craft or all part of the same thing. Then we have this thing like blurry, like coming in and out of phase, out of state maybe. And then look up here in the upper right. There's actually a hole, a depression. And on some of this, if you're on a smaller device, you may need to look at it at a bigger screen to see what I'm seeing, and vice versa. I might miss some tiny, you know, overall picture things because I'm not looking at the smaller handheld device. Anyway, let's just move along. There's enough strangeness there, though. And then here, the overall scene, I thought, okay, we're definitely going to, again, run this through some enhancement. We're looking east. And again, it's towards sunset, and we shouldn't have all of this red, orange signature over to the east where it is right now in the sky, and so low as well. And so what's weird about this one is we're getting again that ephemeral, really like, I'm sorry, not ephemeral, ethereal light, you know, very otherworldly, this like whitish, you know, color, and it's traipsing throughout. And I don't know, again, if is that an interdimensional or super advanced like ET technology, or is this something that's even supernatural, like a bigger cosmic supernatural phenomenon happening here? But I can tell you at B.1, this comes straight across and has a hole at the end. I mean, this looks like a pipe connected to something else. We also see the outline of a triangle, a pure triangle, symmetrical triangle happening in the back. See what you think is happening there. Then we're going to look again. Left is the original, right is the enhanced version. We get more of these pops of this unexplainable white light, and it's really, really bizarre and fascinating though. And we've got this whole field of staccato activity, totally disrupted, choppy to the naked eye. You know, things are in focus. Excuse me, down here. I'm going to hold on one more second. Okay, things are in focus down here, but it's all choppy in the sky, and that's the way it is to the naked eye as well. See what you can find in this one. This is one of those, the more you look, the more you're going to find. All right, then we get to this view, southeast to northeast. This is kind of, it's a little bit of a distorted panorama, but you get the idea. Just some strange patternings developing all over the place. Here's with enhancement, and we can see a little bit more that this is just a lot of strangeness happening in the sky. That's not normal cloud activity. And then we're going to look at the southeast again, you know, just strange patterning. We've got all of these concentric lines, you know, parallel to each other. It looks like something definitely coming in and out of phasing, in and out of state, or just a very intricate way of cloaking this thing. And so we're going to look at it with enhancement. You know, this too looks like something that's being cloaked in a sophisticated way. Anyway, we look at 8.1 and we see a curve. You know, down here too, this all looks like one big craft to me. You know, I don't know if these bands are cloak or if that's part of this thing, hard to say. But look down here at C.1, we get a weird looking pattern. Now this popped up in a previous show, my previous show. Very intricate, weird pattern. And this looks absolutely like a craft with machine parts popping up out of it. Look at this is like a, what do I want to say? Look at this is like a ring of these things popping out, you know. So to me this looks like the front of some kind of craft. It looks like a craft at B.1, looks like a triangular craft is zooming on past it, behind it. Something strange is happening in here too. We got a straight line with a notch out, very precise like a machine part. That doesn't happen with a natural cloud. See what you think. All right, we're going to zoom in on this a little bit more because it's so intriguing. And then at E.1 we start to see a symmetrical triangular shape with like a little, like a bulbous back in the middle. And again, it's perfectly symmetrical. I know it's a little choppy and fuzzy, but you can tell this shape has symmetry and it's a geometry, and that does not happen in natural cloud systems. So anyway, we'll move ahead a little bit, but again, here's that ring of like these little prongs, you know, sticking out. Just really fascinating, but again, as I always say, I would love to see all of this without the smoke and mirrors, so to speak. Take away all the cloak and see what we've got already. And even here, look at this. I'm just noticing it now. There's a stick-like thing coming at us, you know, again, in kind of a ring formation that is echoing this. So these have got to be companion craft of some type. They're on the same team. Beyond that, I have no idea what's going on here. Okay, here we have ABC and then question marks. So I'm going to jump right ahead to the enhanced version. And again, we get like a shadowy triangle, another one back here. Just weird patterning, you know. I gotta say there's gotta be cloak and craft happening all over the place. We're gonna zoom in down at the bottom. Something weird is happening here. The light looks very different. There looks like a strange little pattern in here, so I think this is a standalone cloak and craft. We look up at the C.2 element and look at, we get straight lines. This looks like it has reflection happening off the top with some shadow below it, you know. I gotta believe that this is like the bow of a ship that's like semi-cloaking. You know, this looks like cloaking material coming off this. That would be what, the port side. If it's coming down into the picture, the left side would be toward us. The right side, starboard side, would be to the right, up to the top of the screen. And this looks like maybe the command deck or something, and the bow of this thing. That's what I see. I hope you can see it too. Again, I'm looking at this on a larger screen. You may need to move to that to see what I'm seeing. Anyway, now we look at another, it just what felt weird. We got some strange movements contradicting each other and moving in, you know, this is coming this way, this is coming this way in a perpendicular fashion. Again, doesn't happen in natural clouds. So we look to the right and we see some, you know, strange movement. Strange things are afoot here. I don't know exactly what's going on in here, but I know it ain't natural. So see what you think is going on. Also look at the color signatures again. Why do we only have red popping up right here and nowhere else? You know, anyway, one of those, another question. Okay, now we're going to look at the left is the original. the rights with enhancement. We're going to get at A in the next slide. When I do some enhancements, sometimes you can catch what's going on in one part of the photo, and when something's really dark or bright or vice versa, you have to put the settings a little different to catch different things. So we'll focus on the bottom part of this picture now, and then we'll get to the top in the next slide. So here again, look at these weird shapes. They're dark, they're holding their form. Those aren't natural clouds. This almost looks like, look at all this fracturing and splintering of stuff. We got this weird little very skinny tube-like thing. You know, this all looks like it has intelligent design going on, and this is diving down at a totally different angle than everything else. This almost looks like it has two prongs coming out the front that are parallel to each other, so this all has intelligent design to it as well. What they're doing here, I have no clue, but you know, these two little sticks are parallel to each other, popping out of this thing as well. I am calling that all absolutely cloaking craft, some cloaking more than others. Then here we go, we look at A, and we've got a pointed elliptical form with a really straight line running through it. That's not a cloud, okay? That's all I'll say on that. All right, this is now looking to the south in the evening. And again, I just notice weird patternings, you know, start to really study these things. Definitely it's worth, you know, some enhancement on it. And here's what I get at. We got a real straight line if you follow my cursor there. And that's just behaving in a way that a natural cloud would not. Then we have these things look like they're like springing up off of whatever's going on over in here. A weird intricate pattern is happening in here that also does not occur in natural cloud formations. We also start to see a truncated triangle and another one echoing here, actually a triangular form. And again, I'll repeat myself, but that's not natural cloud activity. And then we zoom in over to the east. We were looking south, now we're going to the east. Left is the original, right is the enhanced version. And then we get these weird forms kind of doing their own thing here. They look too precise. There's also just a clean line, like jigsaw puzzle style separating them. That's not happening in nature naturally. And then B.1, it looks like a weird little appendage on something else. So I'm going to call this whole thing a cloaking craft. And these things are either lifting off, you know, from the deck of it. These things are just like hitchhikers hanging onto the bottom, like I always say, like a remora on a shark. But see what you think. Now we're just zooming in on those two odd little characters. And whenever I see the bright white points, as I've mentioned on other shows, that usually represents things that are poking up out of a cloaking craft as either machine parts. Sometimes these bright white points are little crystalline triangles and other things, which I think could be sensors or something else. Anyway, this whole thing screams strange and not natural. Even this, it's kind of like a symmetrical shape again, where we had that triangle with a little like circular, semicircular back to it or bottom to it. Then we have something strange happening here too. So I think these are connected, or this lifted up out of here. Maybe this whole thing, the more I look at it, is one craft, because this looks like one piece and this looks like one piece that could be you know, parallel to each other. If we're looking at this thing on angle, this could be like the back and that's the front, if you see what I'm saying. Anyway, have fun looking at that one. And then now these are just going to be straight up pictures. Now this is the photo. I give the credit courtesy of Aesthetic Girl, a very kind Lavender Sky Panther viewer who submitted this photo. And we've got beautiful color ranges, the reds and pinks and oranges. It was just, you know, extraordinary. I blew past that a little too fast, and here's just another view of the gorgeous color ranges occurring in the sky at sunset looking west. And then this is a little fuzzy. Sorry about that, the quality. It was getting really dark. My camera could only do so much on this panorama. So it's a little blurry. It's out of focus. It's not your eyes. But anyway, this is just capturing, you know, some of the pinks and blues and purples in the sky. And then we've got, you know, intense, warmer colors happening below. And so we look at that with enhancement, which I found very interesting. Yes, it's exaggerated a little bit, but to really pull out where we're getting the warm red signatures versus the yellow. And then what surprised me was the emergence of this. All of this kind of mysterious white type of light again. And then here at 8.1, I start to make out a shape seeming to emerge through heavy particulate, even here a little bit. See what you can find in that photo. Okay, then we're coming upon more strange cloud activity. Once again, the left is the original, the right is the enhanced version. And here, we're just seeing a really strange thing starting to happen at 8.1. At first, I thought it was like a spherical shape, but now that I'm looking, if you follow my cursor, it's going straight up, coming down this way. So that looks like a hard line here, actually with a hole at the end of it, maybe at the end of a pipe or something. But this is a triangular form. And is it part of something else in this white out below? I don't know. But then we look at C.1. This looks like an actual pointed ellipse or some type of craft with cloaking material. You can see it's a different color here. You know, it's like the stuff wafting in front of it. Looks like something happening back here too, like a pointed ellipse. And what the heck is going on at D.1? That's not a natural cloud. So low in the sky in a hot, humid environment, just not happening. And then we got a straight line happening here. So this is one heck of an interesting story. Again, now this is actually sunrise looking southeast, so I don't have any more to go on other than what I'm showing you, but see what you think is going on. Okay, this is just weird. This is in the afternoon, looking east, and there's so much going on here that just doesn't make sense. So we've got these weird concentric lines parallel to each other. We've got this weird kind of wisp-like activity moving in all different directions. We've got the staccato cloud effect happening all over the place. And now we have this like ripple pool effect where it looks like water ripples happening over in here. And then we've got this strong line dividing, moving up on a perfect angle. It's just bizarre. So we're going to look at this with enhancement. And here we go. You know, I can and I can't get to what we're looking at. Like here I'm seeing the end of some pipes sticking out. I'm seeing a perfectly, triangle imprint here where you see the corner of it. We get this rift, this kind of ridge moving through. Again, look at this ripple stuff. So something is like blurry. Again, I think that's a cloaking mechanism where something here is coming in and out of view. See what you think. This one's a little bit of a stumper. I brighten it up quite a bit to just, again, what's blurry? What is this thing? I think we're looking at an object that's cloaking, and that's why we see it this way. That's just my guess. And again, we've got something kind of ripple effect down here on the lower part of this divide. It's just bizarre. Let me know if you see anything cool in here. I'm kind of at a loss otherwise. Oh, and 8.2, this is a darker thing happening with pure holes. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4. They're actual holes. It looks like stuff is streaming out of it. This whole thing is just so bizarre. I'm going to move on. All right, then we're going to look at another, aspects of it. Again, we've got that like dividing line. Look at 8.1. Can you tell me what that is? I can't tell you what that is. It almost looks aquatic, like plankton under a microscope. We've got weird stuff shooting straight up. These things are going every which way. I don't know what's going on here, but it's very intriguing. And again, with a normal cloud, you're not going to have it pitched on such a sharp angle, and you're not going to have anything rising up like this, shooting straight up. Look at this is jettisoning off here, here, and here. So, it looks like even like a little craft or object is flying up out of there. Anyone have any ideas on this one? Look at this is like a canister. This looks like an oil drum or something. So are we just catching parts and pieces off the top of the deck of a ship that's going at a near 45-degree angle? I don't know. See what you think. This one is truly bizarre. Okay, now we're looking southwest in the evening, and just weird bits start popping up again. Bright white, crystalline kind of things popping through the cloud. Always catches my attention, and it's coming down on one angle while other things are going off at another angle. Little white bits here, strangeness happening over here, enough to say, let's look at this with enhancement. And bam, okay, this is where we were, and this is where we are now. So we have like darker bodies being veiled behind heavy particulate at C and D. We have a separate object here. Look at this. This is part of either a standalone object there, or this is the front part of something bigger, trailing back to 8.1. Hard to say. Standalone object over here. It's all looking really strange. And even on D.1, not only does it look like a standalone cloaking craft, it's got like something happening in here with a bright point behind it, backlighting it. And look at this. This is a straight line, an obtuse angle, sharp, clean edge here. These are not natural formations. Now, this could also just be parts of, two parts sticking up out of a bigger craft that's cloaking underneath. This could just be something on the deck. I don't know. What do you think? Okay, this just got really weird and got my attention because we're seeing this weird smudgy looking activity to the naked eye. And then we got this weird feathery thing going almost straight up, to something happening over here. It was just really bizarre. And this is happening in the evening looking southeast. And so here we go with some enhancement. Look, what is going on here? What's the relationship between whatever's happening here? This even looks like it's blowing something up out of it, or something is drawing it up toward this. Hard to say. I don't know. It's just, there are all kinds of strange I've been looking at now for over a year and a half. I am kind of speechless on this one. Again, we got like these weird, perfect holes, up in the top all over the place. So this could be the bottom of some kind of cloaking craft. See what you think. We're going to zoom in on that weird feathery-like thing, which I couldn't tell if it was blowing up out of here or being sucked up from something up here. We look at it with enhancement. This is what we get. Like, what is going on? What's the story between these two? Then on top of it, this looks like maybe it has triangular form with different pieces stuck on there. This could be like a little cloak and craft. This looks like an elongated triangle with two little prongs in the back, perfectly symmetrical. Anyway, this is what I see too. I'm going to toggle back and forth. You know, I start to make out this like wedge shaped thing, you know, see if you see it as well. So I think this is like a separate craft sitting there, you know, parked on the top of something, or this is like a appendage or something sticking out on the deck of a bigger ship below. That's what I see. See what you see. I have no answers for what is going on here, though. All right, this is another view looking southwest toward the evening, and again, all choppy staccato effect. So I thought, okay, let's look at this with some enhancement to the right, and I didn't expect this, so I thought I would start to make out machine parts and other things, but it's so darn choppy. But what I do see is an extraordinary range of different color signatures, unexpected ones. So we have the, you know, classic red-pink that I've been seeing so often, but then up here we go straight to immediately yellow, and then look at this red thing. So there's something happening here for sure. And again, I'm just taking the photo and upping the, you know, doing this actually through the PowerPoint platform. And I'm just upping levels of contrast, brightness, and color saturation. That's it, uniformly, you know, on the whole thing. So this is what we got. See what you find in here. It's really intriguing what's happening down here. Look at, we've got this line coming straight down this way. Well, this one's coming straight across like a T on angle. Again, does not happen with natural cloud activity. And we've got a straight line here. Looks like maybe a cylindrical thing happening here, like a tube. You know, triangular form here. See what you find in this one. It's all fascinating, whatever it is. And then here, again, another view, what we were looking at earlier, where we had this weird kind of line. Actually, no, this is, yeah, it's a little bit of what we were looking at earlier. Anyway, weird movement, like radial, weird things happening all over the place. We look at it with enhancement. Again, we see some strange patterning going on there, like a, you know, weird angle, and this is going off at another angle. Then we look at B.2, we get another triangular shape. This time it looks like the same thing, where the back end has a little bit of a bulge to it, and then this looks like it's sticking out, so I'm calling that a cloak and craft. Here too, kind of we get a triangular form. This could be one object, or it could be three. You know, another separate object here perhaps. And then we'll look at it a little bit more, sorry, this is not southwest. This should say southeast and east, east-southeast. Anyway, a lot of strangeness. We're going to keep tracking this, see if we see anything else. B.4 again is that triangular element. Looks like a craft to me. A lot of strange smudge outs. We can't really get a clear picture on what's going on, but a lot of high strangeness nonetheless, especially D.4 starts emerging to look really strange. And then now with a little more different type of enhancement, we can really see what color signatures are going on all over the place. And look at, we got like a streak or a vein of bright red happening in here. Well, everything else is, you know, this yellow and green with the blue in the back. It's just so strange. I haven't really had this effect before when I've done the enhancement. And here, this is a weird little object where the green might be like a vapor trail behind it or something. See what you think on this one. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. It's a pair of Egyptian geese as they gaze upon a canal in Miami, Florida. So I want to say thanks for taking a gander at some things here a while. Yeah, I know. I don't know if that hurts me more or you more. Sorry about the cringe. But anyway, it's Sunday here, as I said, so I hope wherever you are in the world, you're having a beautiful week ahead. Start to your week. More importantly, just a gorgeous now. And I wish each and every one of you, or all of us collectively, just tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther, bye.